The California wildfires are insane. What a lot of people aren't talking about are the long-term effects this natural disaster is gonna have. Me, Kevin, was recently on a podcast with Graham Stephan, and then we're talking a little bit regarding these wildfires. Let's get into it.
How long do you think it's gonna take to actually rebuild all of that area in LA? Because I know specifically with the Thomas Fire in Ventura, our house took about 3.5 years to build. And a lot of the insurance companies, the kind of standard rate is that they'll float you for temporary rent
Not
for
that long.
2 years.
Exactly.
That temporary rent is called ALE, additional living expenses. And those are additional funds that your insurance company should give you, temporary housing, food, supplies, while they deal with the loss of your home.
I want to talk about another byproduct that you just brought up. It's not just contracting prices that are going to go up, it's rents that are going to skyrocket. For all the normal people in LA, now there are fewer apartments available. There are fewer single family homes available. So anybody who wants to renew their lease now or move into LA because they got a job, I wouldn't be surprised if you see rents go up 20%.
This is an important thing that Meet Kevin is touching on. It's the impacts outside of all the neighborhoods that have been burned down. So think about where these people are gonna go. They're gonna be displaced. They can't just go from their house that's been burned down the street to the hotel, because that hotel or motel has also been burned down. So they're gonna have to spread out into other neighborhoods. Pricing for rent's just gonna shoot way up.
In all of LA, heck, that could hurt our international or our nationwide inflation numbers.
It was interesting. Jason Oppenheim shared a story on Instagram that a client showed up to a rental listing, just an average listing, nothing special. There are 20 people outside.
Oh, yeah.
20 people were outside.
Yeah. Well, people lost
every
their
one of
home.
his listings, he has a listing for $13,350, $13,500 a month.
Wow,
Got
that's-
offered $20,000 a month for it, 6 months up front. The owner wants more.
$13,000 a month for rent. That better be a mansion. But in California, that might be a hut with a water pump in the back. I don't know.
My house is either burning down, going to burn down, or burned down over the last 2 or 3 days. The first thing they do is, okay, where am I going to live? I'm not going to live out of a hotel in a suitcase. So Zillow.com, look at the rental. Now then this is where things get interesting, because then the political idea is, okay, well, all those people are price gouging. They're being greedy. And then the flip side of the argument is, well, there's a shortage of available housing. What does that go back to? Oh, well, it goes back again to politics. We just don't build enough.
And me, Kevin, has touched on this a little bit before in the past too. Apparently there is a building issue in California because there's so much red tape in the government. They just don't build enough for the people. Kind of like the government is bringing this problem on to themselves.
This is predicted to cascade into plunging property values in communities where insurance becomes impossible to find or prohibitively expensive. A collapse in property values with the potential to trigger a full-scale financial crisis similar to what happened in 2008. What are your thoughts on this? It might be a bit extreme.
So which Republican wrote that?
I mean, Kevin, with the jabs, the political jabs. Here's the thing. I don't think that this is going to cause property values to drop at all. It's so easy for the news to say that prices are going to crash like 2008. Everybody remembers 2008. Everybody who's a millennial, a little older, remembers 2008. Everybody lost their shirts in 2008. It was really, really bad recession. I don't think that's going to be the case in this situation. I think the exact inverse is going to happen, and prices are just going to skyrocket.
Yeah, that's that I would say that is far-fetched, mostly because at some point when insurance becomes impossible to get, at some point the political leash, if you will loosen, and people will enter the insurance market. It's always how it works. The price goes up high enough for insurance that insurability becomes like an option again. I mean, look, you could literally start an insurance company today. Hey, we'll do all the insurance in LA. Whoever's having trouble getting insurance, we'll do an insurance company. And you just securitize the risk by selling it on the market. Hey, who wants 10% yield on a bond for this high-risk insurance company? People will buy it as part of their portfolio.
Me, Kevin, obviously this is hyperbole here. You can't just start an insurance company today and just sell it on the market. There's a lot of red tape that goes into creating an insurance company with the Department of Insurance. However, what me, Kevin's saying is if nobody can get insurance, the government will just loosen restrictions and new players will come into the market and charge whatever they want. What that means is that the average homeowner like me and you, we're not going to be able to afford that first time home, because the only institutions that will be able to afford these massive premiums premiums are massive real estate institutions that have thousands of homes in their portfolios. So while Meet Kevin is correct that new players will come into the market and charge whatever they want, that doesn't mean anything for me and you.
People will always be able to diversify away their risk. So I don't see property values plunging. In fact, and this
is in areas that you can't get insurance, or insurance is so expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of those areas, like the coastline of Malibu, those are, $10, $20 million homes, sometimes even more. Of course, insurance is going to be prohibitively expensive there because they're either going to fall into the ocean or going to burn down again, potentially, right? But people want to live there. So somebody will pay those exorbitant fees. And then again, people will risk it away.
I think Meet Kevin, his mindset's a little skewed because he's a multimillionaire. Now, just because you're rich doesn't mean that you don't understand how the rest of the world works. But once you get to a certain level of, let's say, financial well-being, your mindset or the way you view the world may shift. That's just human nature. So while, yes, the people in the Palisades and in Malibu, they're very well off. They're very rich, so they can probably self-insure or pay whatever premiums these boutique insurance companies offer. The thing is that there's a lot of neighborhoods that are not well off. The neighborhood of Altadena, for example, they are a working class neighborhood. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube where folks are literally seeing the rubbles of their home, telling the interview, we have no insurance. Altadena got impacted, Eaton got impacted. These are not your super wealthy Hollywood star neighborhoods. So these people may not have any insurance at all or be stuck with the FAIR plan, which pays pennies on the dollar.
Well, this also says many residents of the Pacific Palisades are reporting that they had no property insurance because insurance companies no longer provide coverage for real estate in the highly priced and high-risk areas.
Right, yeah, because even the California FAIR Plan has a limit of how much they'll cover. I think it's $3 million per home is the limit that they'll cover. Some of those homes are $8 million homes. So, yeah, that's possible that people have just entirely dropped their coverage. State Farm announced their non-renewals in March.
Correct.
Which means March is 10 months ago, which means 10 out of 12, what is that? Over 80%, 85% of insurance policies have probably lapsed, assuming, you know, an equal amount of dispersion there, that not everybody's renewing in lumps. So in English, most of those policies, the State Farm ones, have lapsed. If they couldn't find other coverage, they've gone to the California FAIR or have been uninsured.
Yeah.
They're screwed.
In this case, it was 69.4% of the Pacific Palisades
69?
got dropped.
Yeah.
0.4.
That is a massive amount of people that are just dropped. And then going back to normal home buyers like me and you, let's say you lived in California your whole life, your entire dream was to buy your first home, your first starter home, finally scrape up enough money for a down payment, your credit score is great, you got a good job, and you've been approved for a mortgage, you find the perfect home, start a little home, yeah, it's $1.2 million, but whatever. But guess what? You cannot buy that home because you cannot get insurance. When you have a mortgage, the mortgage company, the bank, has a vested interest in that property. The property is the collateral, so if you default on that loan, the bank can come in and repossess that property and sell it on the market again to recoup their losses. Same situation happens if the property's damaged. The bank wants to know that you are properly insured so that if something happens to the home, the insurance company will bring that home back up to pre-loss conditions and their asset, their collateral, is still safe. So again, if you're in Southern California, even if you make really good money, good luck getting your first home because you're gonna have a hard time finding an insurance company.
Funny,
State Farm.
69.420.
Yeah, exactly. That's State Farm.
Was dropped.
Yeah. So exactly. So their choices are you either go to a different carrier, if you can get it, pay the higher fees, or you go to California FAIR, or you self-insure. Self-insure obviously would be catastrophic at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What self-insure means is you actually allocate a pool of money. So instead of paying premiums every year, you're basically putting an emergency fund to the side where you pay into that bucket and you're self-insuring. It typically doesn't work when you have a mortgage because the mortgage company, the bank, wants to know you have an actual insurance company with enough assets to cover the rebuild of your home. Now, sometimes wealthier people do self-insure because they have the assets, they have the collateral, they have the finances to self-insure for their properties. But for your typical American home buyer, you're not going to be self-insuring.
Allstate, too, announced plans, this was in November of 2022, pause new homeowners, condo, and commercial insurance policies in California to protect current customers.
Yeah.
What about tens of millions of dollars homes that are not insured at all? Like I saw there was like a $30 million home listed on Zillow that burnt down in the fire, all of these crazy expensive homes that are not insured at all. What is there?
They're probably insured. At that level,
At that level, you have to. You think?
It's not like you have to. It's like when you have a $30 million home, your net worth is probably
So you're self-insuring?
$250 million plus. They're having insurance. There's no way those people wouldn't have insurance. My understanding is if you're that high net worth, you could basically have anything underwritten because insurance companies can.
There are insurance companies that actually underwrite absolutely anything. Lloyd's of London is an insurance company that's been around for a long, long time, and they will insure anything.
Cater to what you want.
Yeah.
Like very customizable policies because you're spending so much money. They might spend $200,000 a year on insurance. An insurance company will make that happen.
Well, I'll give an example just to make an insurance comparison. So, you know, I own a plane. The cost to insure my plane is $30,000 a year with 2 professional phenom rated pilots. I am a brand new pilot. I've got 100 hours. I've landed a plane, 300 times, a little single engine Cirrus with a parachute. In order to be the second pilot with a professional pilot who's flown for 2,000 hours or whatever, my insurance policy goes from $30,000 a year and 10 companies want to offer us insurance to 1 company wants to offer us insurance, and that'll be $130,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I love how Meet Kevin has that little subtle flex there. You know I own a plane, right? So all insurance is a transference of risk from one party to another. So in this case, Meet Kevin is transferring his risk of crashing his plane from himself to the insurance company. So in one scenario, the insurance company is saying, okay, you have 2 pilots with hundreds of thousands of hours of experience. The risk of them crashing your plane is probably pretty low, so we're gonna give you a certain premium. Now, Meet Kevin, like most rich people do, wanna pretend like they're in Top Gun and they get a pilot's license. So even being second chair in his own plane, the risk profile is substantially increased. That's why Meet Kevin's saying now that's $130,000 premium. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment down below. I'm interested to know what your insurance premium is. I'm a first-time home buyer and my premium is about $12.50 a year, and I'm out here in the state of Georgia. And go ahead, click the subscribe button. It's right there, super easy, and best of all, it's free 99. I'll catch you on the next one.
So, like you say, and like I've said, you can insure anything. How much you want to pay?